Every warrior walks a different path. Samurai, the path of discipline. Ronin, the path of independence. Ninja, the path of strategy. Zen monk, the path of wisdom. Shogun, the path of power.
But today, we explore the path of the power without self-control is just chaos. Give a weak man a small taste of authority, and he immediately turns into a tyrant over his tiny, meaningless domain. You raise your voice at service workers, demand instant obedience from your family, or flex cheap status symbols to feel superior to strangers. Yet, behind closed doors, you cannot control your own hand when it reaches for junk food, your own eyes when they seek cheap arousal, or your own tongue when fear demands a lie. You mistake authority over others for internal mastery, flexing power outward because you are utterly powerless within. Here is the brutal diagnosis you refuse to admit. You are a tyrant on the outside because you are a slave on the inside. You believe that gaining leverage, money, or dominance over people will grant you respect. In truth, unearned power placed in the hands of an undisciplined mind is not strength. It is a live grenade held by a toddler. It is a pathetic, loud mask designed to hide a decaying, chaotic spirit. Feudal Japan understood that power without strict internal boundaries leads directly to total social destruction. The Shogunate caste was built to command vast provincial armies, enforce severe laws, and hold absolute power over life and death. A single word from a warlord could burn a village or execute a lineage. Yet precisely because their external authority was absolute, the collective elite recognized that an unbridled commander was a threat to the entire realm. To prevent chaos from devouring their rule, they instituted the crushing protocol of Jidoku discipline, anchored by the mechanical tool of Jidoku, the law of self-governance. Consider the modern person, specifically the corporate ghost. He endures 40 hours a week of humiliation from senior management, swallowing his pride for a paycheck he hates. But the moment he steps into a position of minor oversight or returns home to those who depend on him, he becomes confrontational, demanding, and volatile. He uses whatever tiny authority he possesses to crush others, venting the frustration of his own soft, cowardly choices onto people who cannot fight back. He demands perfection from the world while allowing his own habits, health, and spirit to rot in quiet desperation. The Shogunate ecosystem treated this hypocrisy as a fatal flaw. Historical records from the Tokugawa administration document that lords who demonstrated unchecked cruelty, emotional volatility, or self-indulgent greed were stripped of their domains through land confiscation laws. The elite knew that a man who cannot govern his own appetites will eventually betray his duty, ruin his house, and bring war to his gates. At the microscopic core of this system was Jidoku, the mechanical practice of turning the blade of discipline inward before wielding authority outward. Picture a high-ranking shogunate magistrate sitting on a raised wooden dais inside a cold, silent stone pavilion at midnight. The air is thick with the scent of burning pine pitch and the damp chill of mountain fog. Before him lies a scroll of absolute authority, stamped with the shogun's golden seal, granting him the legal power to execute a rival clan leader with a single stroke of his brush. His fingers grip the heavy brush, ink glistening dark against textured parchment. His chest rises and falls beneath iron-reinforced silk robes. Every human instinct of pride, vengeance, and unchecked ego urges him to strike immediately, to flex his dominance, to feel the rush of absolute control. But he executes Jidoku. He pauses. He forces his breathing into a deep, rhythmic abdominal cadence. He subjects his own motive to a brutal internal interrogation. Is this decision driven by strategic necessity for the realm, or by the cheap, petty desires of his own ego? Historical accounts note that shogunate administrators were trained through rigid Confucian and Zen frameworks to view their power not as a personal privilege, but as a heavy, crushing debt owed to order itself. If a magistrate allowed personal malice or emotional weakness to corrupt his command, he did not just fail a test, he invalidated his right to rule. The law of Jidoku dictated a hard, uncompromising rule. The force of your self-control must always exceed the scope of your power. Strip away the romantic samurai myths, and the cold structural reality remains. Raw power without internal constraint is pure, unadulterated chaos. When an individual expands his external influence while leaving his internal character unpolished and undisciplined, collapse is not a possibility, it is a mathematical certainty. Look at your modern existence. You demand discipline from your children, loyalty from your partners, and respect from your peers. Yet you cannot enforce a single hard rule upon yourself. You make grandiose promises on Monday and break them by Wednesday night in the privacy of your dark room. You complain about toxic leaders, oppressive systems, and chaotic environments, yet you run your own mind like an anarchy. You excuse your lack of self-control by claiming you are stressed, overworked, or simply human. The hard warrior truth is that your excuses are trash. If you cannot command your own hand, your own appetite, and your own tongue, you have no right to speak of power. Govern yourself first. Look at the trajectory of your habits. Every time you indulge a weak impulse, while demanding excellence from others, you erode your own credibility. You are building a castle of cards on a foundation of mud. Stop seeking leverage over people when you possess zero leverage over your own desires. Turn your attention inward, lock down your daily execution, and conquer the real enemy. Rein in the ego. The path of shogunate discipline is not about wielding a whip over the world. It is about holding a leash around your own throat. When you master the art of Jidoku, you no longer need to scream, flex, or demand respect. Your presence alone carries the quiet, terrifying weight of a man who has conquered himself. Master your own chaos, enforce total self-governance, and step into true, unshakable authority. Rule from within.
Every warrior walks a different path. Samurai, the path of discipline. Ronin, the path of independence. Ninja, the path of strategy. Zen monk, the path of wisdom. Shogun, the path of power. Which one are you? Comment below.